How does it look from where you're sitting at Lucid? Is it the same view from where 𝗖𝗓 is here in Riyadh?
To a wide extent, it's similar. But first of all, before I go into the supply chain question, first of all, I also wanted to say how honored I am to be here today with the esteemed panels here. And we actually are the first automotive company that decided to invest in a plant here in the kingdom. And we are really excited to be here, actually together with 𝗖𝗓, and I will elaborate in a second. We learned out of this turmoil over the last 5 years, basically three things. First of all, it's about vertical integration. The second topic is about localization, and the third topic is around long-term stability. Why vertical integration? We made early on the decision to develop all of our key components in-house. That means that we are less dependent on the global supply chain because we actually can develop it ourselves, we produce it ourselves. We started that in the United States, in our plant in Arizona. We built all of our cars there. We built our drive units there, the major components of the powertrain, the battery packs and battery modules. So we are actually quite highly vertically integrated. Why is that important? If you run into supply chain constraints, as we have seen in the last couple of years, you can make changes yourself. Talking about rare earth materials and permanent magnets for our drive units. We have the ability, and we are actually redeveloping our drive units right now to consume less rare earth materials and therefore being less dependent. So that's the power of vertical integration. The second topic about localization. As I just mentioned, we are producing most of our key components first in the US, and now we're doing the same in our plant in Cake, King Abdullah Economic City, where we're currently building a full plant with 150,000 units of capacity. And we're doing this together with 𝗖𝗓. The 5 components that Jim just mentioned are also the components that we are localizing. And it's also the same, like what Jim just said. Some things you definitely want to localize, and others you want to have access to the global markets. And for that, coming to the third point, the stability, for that you need stability, that you basically have regulatory environment, tariffs that you can rely on. That's also a reason why we made, as the first automotive manufacturer back in 2020, the decision to build a plant in the kingdom. Quite frankly, at that time, that was very unique. And we've been asked very, very often, why are you doing this? Why are you not building the second plant in China, as everybody was about to do at that time? And we already at that time thought, okay, things are going to change. There will be much more pressure and turmoil in China. And therefore, we made the decision here to really buy into the Vision 2030 and be a part of that vision.
Mark, workforce development, really essential, right, for resilient supply chains?
Yeah, absolutely essential for us here in the kingdom. Obviously, the plant that we're building here will have 150,000 of capacity, which is our largest plant. So therefore, we need local people. And we are very active in developing this. Actually, would like to point out, as of today already, more than 65% of our employees here in the kingdom are Saudi nationals. And we are increasing this percentage all the time. We are collaborating with HRDF on a program where we are training people for the plant in AMP2, which were in Cake. And those people, they come for 6 months also to the US in our plant in Arizona. They get trained, and after they get trained, then they come back here into the kingdom. Beyond that, we have a cooperation with NAVA, the National Academy, Automotive and Vehicle Academy, where we also have those transfer programs where people come over to the United States to train. But then it's not only bringing people from Saudi to the United States, but it's also the other way around. We recently signed a cooperation with KAUST, the university, and we are bringing our brightest engineers over here to work with KAUST on leading edge technology topics, be it autonomous driving, AI modelings, simulation, crash testing, all of those things that are really crucial for the automotive industry, and have our engineers come here to work with the local leading university to develop this talent here locally. So it's very important for us, and we're investing heavily.
Ken, how can joint ventures in the energy sector support advancing localization, particularly in Saudi's case?
Yeah, absolutely. Joint ventures are a way that we...
Jerry, coming back to you, from smart industrial zones to logistics hubs, what role does the PIF play in enabling the digital infrastructure, which is going to be, extremely important, that infrastructure, the computing power needed for agile, tech-enabled supply chains? How is it that you go about bringing that technology and diffusing it locally?
Thank you. Deep local tech-enabled supply chains are the ultimate goal. PIF is a dual mandate investor, so we invest for financial return, and then we also invest to drive the economic diversification of the economy. And we do that in part by setting up OEMs at the end of the value chain that in their own right need to be successful. They need to meet the needs of their customers, but they're also a catalyst to bring in supply chains over time. And so in order to do that, we work with our partners across government and the private sector to create the right enabling environment for those supply chains to be successful. So we look at talent-related issues. Mark mentioned NAVA, which is the National Automotive Vehicles Academy, which took in its first cohort of 210 students in October. This was from 28,000 applicants. We also work on policy-related efforts. So the King Salman automotive cluster has been set up as a special economic zone with a variety of tax and other incentives in order to make it easier to do business there. There is a major transportation and logistics upgrading that's happening across the kingdom, being led by the ministry. And we also put capital to work to accelerate the development of local supply chains. So we have a vehicle called 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧, which invests in the mobility ecosystem. Now, given the direction of travel for global manufacturing, increased automation means that cost of capital, access to clean energy, and kind of business-friendly policies in the right G2G trade environment are essential. And we think Saudi is very well positioned for that. Again, to accelerate the development of that infrastructure, we're working with partners such as Google and Amazon and others to set up data centers. There was a large announcement for a large initiative yesterday called 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗡𝗖𝗧,
of course,
which I think you'll be hearing a lot about over the course of this day, which is another vector for accelerating the development of the infrastructure that businesses need.